in some ways, it's Jeffrey Epstein who, either by committing suicide or more nefariously, as some suggest, being bumped off, is out of the picture, but everybody associated with him is still carrying some level of taint.
So with some 200 names due to be released, I'm sensing a media frenzy about to kick off.
Well, yeah, you're right, because some of those names are going to be very famous indeed. Obviously, former President Bill Clinton, possibly former President Donald Trump, very likely Prince Andrew, of course, which will interest everybody in Britain, and people like the Microsoft founder Bill Gates. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein had the biggest VIP list there's going. I mean, the great and good all flocked to see him. And as a result, their reputations have become rather tarnished, whether legitimately or not. They have been found rather lacking in the court of public opinion. Even, of course, there's nothing illegal about going on flights with Jeffrey Epstein or visiting him at his Lolita Island, etc.
I mean, as you say, some big names have already been associated with Epstein. We're talking about a former director of the CIA, the filmmaker Woody Allen. You've already mentioned Bill Gates, and there are plenty more. It isn't evidence of them, being involved in serious wrongdoing, criminality, and that kind of thing. But how do they explain that?
Well, Bill Clinton, for example, former president, can explain some of his flights very easily. Jeffrey Epstein was the sort of person who'd lend his private jet to people like Clinton for humanitarian missions in Africa, etc. So that's all right. But if his name does appear 50 times as suggested, some of which may just be related to various court documents, there could still be uncomfortable revelations at stake. For example, Bill Clinton had conflicting testimony with Virginia Giuffre, the chief accuser, who used to work in Epstein's circle as a young woman, and Prince Andrew was also implicated by her. Bill Clinton, for example, insisted that he was never on Epstein's Caribbean island. Well, will the release of flight logs or attendance details or something, anything of that nature, prove that one or other of them was very much mistaken? So it's not that there's nothing unpleasant that could come out. Yeah. There certainly could. And Prince Andrew, of course, was really hoping that all this was well behind him. He came to a big settlement with Virginia Giuffre and thought everything was over. But this saga has a habit of just rolling on and on.
Yeah, I mean, these names have been in the hands of the authorities for a while. Is this right? It's not thought that prosecutions are any more likely when this happens.
No, in some ways, it's almost a sort of wrap-up, at least for now, because the judge in the case saw no reason why sealed documents relating to the various cases brought against Ghislane Maxwell, for example, should remain sort of sealed in perpetuity. And as a result, they were due to become public after January 1st. Well, of course, it's still daytime in America today, and we are expecting them any moment. They haven't come out yet, but it's only a matter of time now.
Yeah, you can almost hear a clock ticking. It's going to fill the news airwaves when it happens, isn't it?
It really is. And when you think how many people this scandal of Jeffrey Epstein has touched, I mean, this was the billionaire financier who had a charmed circle of friends. He used to claim, of course, that he just liked to have discussions among sort of supermen type. But what he was also offering was, surroundings in which, young girls would be very much in evidence. How young, of course, nobody knew, but perhaps 16, 17. We know that he liked them on the young side, as Donald Trump himself said. And that was proved in the Ghislane Maxwell case. Ghislane Maxwell is still in jail, facing a very long time there. And there have been really quite amazing consequences for everybody involved. And in some ways, it's Jeffrey Epstein who, either by committing suicide or more nefariously, as some suggest, being bumped off, is out of the picture, but everybody associated with him is still carrying some level of taint.